Hello, everybody. Welcome to Crackers and Milk. This is your host, David. I'm joined by Mike. We are doing a small podcast called
Shooting the Breeze.
Shooting the Breeze. So we are just shooting the breeze. We do have some topics that we're going to talk about, so we're not going to waste your time. We're just sitting here shooting breezes, talking about our topic that we want to talk about. So, hopefully it's fun for you. We find it really fun to do this, and we're excited to do it. So our topic right now is The Office. So what we've kind of decided to do is kind of go with episode by episode, and just kind of talk about our impressions, our thoughts, and what we want to talk about with The Office. You know, in everyday conversations, we sit and we talk about our favorite TV shows. And one of our favorite TV shows is The Office. We all know that The Office is leaving Netflix and going to the Peacock, which is good for The Office, but kind of sad for all those Netflix users who watch The Office constantly. It's been a wonderful TV series. And it was a wonderful TV series to watch in the first place. I remember watching it for the first time when I found out about it before season 2. Watched it, and it was like, okay, I need to watch this. And I watched every episode until it went off the air. And
every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
Yep.
It's one of those great TV shows that happen. And I know that it has got better claim now because of Netflix than it was during their run on TV. So we're hoping that we bring something to the table with The Office and give you some insights and do our best. So hopefully you enjoy the ride.
Yeah, definitely. So, let's shoot the breeze. Episode 1, huh?
Definitely. Okay. So episode 1, season 1, episode 1. This is what it says for the thing. The premiere episode introduces the boss and staff of the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company in Scranton, Pennsylvania, in a documentary about the workplace.
Yep.
We're gonna just do some brief things at first for this first one. Or, I don't know, maybe we should just talk about... Do you just want to talk about characters?
Yeah.
Right now, because that first episode, we could talk about what we think about The Office.
Yeah.
That episode after. Or we could talk about Michael, Jim, Pam, and Dwight. That first...
Yeah.
I think that's
what... maybe first impressions, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. One thing we wrote down, me and Mike share a Google Doc where we asked, what are your thoughts about Michael?
Oh, Michael. Well, at least with Michael, so now that the whole show is done, right?
Yeah.
His life is so sad. His personal life. It's just brutal.
It is.
You know what? And then when I watched it this week, he mentioned in the first episode his brother.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think he ever mentioned a brother ever again.
He mentioned like a sister.
He mentions his sister because he hires his nephew
or whatever.
Who was terrible.
Terrible.
And he spanks him.
Yes. Even though, you know who that kid was?
No.
He is the speed guy on X-Men.
No way.
Yeah, he's Quicksilver.
No way.
Yeah.
That's Quicksilver.
Serious, yeah. So when you watch it again, it's like, oh, there's Quicksilver.
Oh,
that's all I think about is Quicksilver.
Oh, holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing because he is
he's terrible office assistant. Holy cow.
Goes and gets some so anyway.
And I don't know if you noticed, but did you notice that Michael mentioned his dad?
Yeah.
No, Dwight mentioned his dad.
That's right.
And you never hear about Dwight's dad. It's always about Aunt Shirley and Mose.
Yeah, or we talk about you're talking about Dwight?
Yeah, well, I thought Michael said it, but then Dwight was on the brain
Dwight.
But yeah, like...
Aunt Shirley, yep.
And then,
and Mose.
like you said on here, where he goes, he was on that TV show, and he says he wished he had 100 kids so they could just be his friend.
100, so I could have 100 friends.
Yeah, and you're sitting there like the puppet was even like feeling awkward, like, oh, what's going on here? This is so weird.
This poor little kid. And he hates his. And I was actually watching Phyllis' Wedding today.
Yeah.
And he's explaining how when he went to see his he was the ring bearer for his mom's wedding when she married Jeff.
Yeah.
Oh boy, he doesn't like his stepdad.
No.
And he peed his pants, and they made the dog carry the ring down, and so I mean, just poor Michael's family life. But I mean, seeing who he is, I don't know if anyone has a friend like that out there who wants that attention so bad, and I do know some people like that, and they drive me crazy.
Yeah.
And I want to be nice to them, and I'd be as nice to them, but they are. It almost makes sense that whoever wrote Michael wrote him as somebody who didn't have a father figure in his life, somebody who could listen to him. Oh, and they even talk about that in counseling when Michael has to do counseling with Toby.
Yeah.
And it is pretty fun when Toby gets him to open up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And even about the dog. And I thought the dog would leave me for some other person in the park. And he does talk about Jeff. And Jeff took him to a baseball game. And Jeff said, hey, the manager is who all those people listen to. And that's why Michael wanted to be a manager when he grew up. So that he could be over all these people.
See, and that's really, like, when you meet Michael for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
In season 1, it's really tough.
Yeah.
Like, he's tough to, like, there are no redeemable qualities about it.
At all.
At all in the first season.
Oh, yeah.
In the second season, the redeemable quality of what you find in when he was trying to sell to Tim Meadows or when him and Jan went to Chili's.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And they were trying to sell to the school district and all that stuff.
To the Lackawanna County.
Yeah. And you could finally see redeemable qualities and how he was a really great salesman.
Amazing.
And all of that, and you're just like, oh. Yeah, okay. And then seasons go on and on. I think the first 3 seasons driven by Jim and Pam, that relationship.
Yep.
But also, after that one, once things settled down with Jim and Pam, the whole thing turned to Michael, I feel.
Oh, yeah.
With 4 and 5 and 6, where you're just like, yeah, Michael really does make this show better than Jim and Pam. Like, Jim and Pam are great, but Michael is the central figure. And once they got rid of him, it was really, like, I think the saddest one episode is Goodbye, Michael.
Oh.
Goodbye to Michael.
Definitely.
And you're just like, yeah, he really did make this place great, this TV show great. And they screwed the pooch on 8 and 9.
Yep.
They should have given things to Dwight a little bit sooner and all that stuff, but
can you imagine?
Oh my goodness! It
Dwight as the office manager.
Yeah.
I would die. He would be. I mean, in that short last episode, was amazing because he installs the little gas chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine having that? They could do so many things with that every episode. Having to show your password, doing the calisthenics outside. I mean, just.
And see, that's what, like, when Andy left with at the beginning of this season, in 9, they should have just turned it over to Dwight.
Yep.
But whatever.
Nope.
With Michael.
Yeah.
Michael
is he's cringeworthy.
Yes, big time.
You just, how can somebody say like that?
Yeah.
Everything that comes out of his mouth is like, wait, did he just say that?
Yeah.
Wait, did he just say that?
Yeah.
Everything. Ooh, it just.
Oh, it makes you cringe. Like, and that, like, for me, so much, so how hard it was to watch Michael in that, in that setting all the time. When the new episodes would come on, you're just like, oh my gosh, Michael, stop it. I don't want to watch this. But you had to watch it because it was good. It was really good. And I think one of the things that became pretty characteristic of him was in that first episode, he was talking about how, oh, this message is so important, I'm going to go run to get it. And he was just fake running. He's like, you know, yeah, $6.
The $6 million man.
Yeah. And he goes, yeah, that's how much I should get a raise. And Pam's like, yeah, all of us should get a raise. And Mike's like, Pam, are you happy?
Yeah.
And he just switches like, yeah, wait a minute, whoa. Dude. Like,
back up
she's
the train,
just,
man.
yeah, she's just following what you're saying. And then it's just kind of funny to me about that whole thing with him. You're just like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that, Michael. I get that. Where it is so much, he's very cringeworthy, and I think the first season was so entrenched in British humor that it was really hard to get
because it was
behind.
a scene for scene, basically, of the British Office.
And that's like, yeah, like the whole memo thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is what we do with memos. Throw it away. Scene for scene, you're just like... Because I watched the British one, and I was like, wow. Okay.
Zero creativity for the American version.
Zero.
Yeah.
And I think the one that changed it maybe was basketball.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe even the Alliance. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing Alliance in the British one, but you're just like, yeah, basketball was one that really changed it. But I think Michael, at that point, I get it. Like, he pushed the series. He made it the best. He made it the greatest, one of the greatest TV series. And then, you know, he doesn't last the whole time.
Yeah.
That's kind of tough to swallow because of the great series in the past with MASH, Cheers, all of them. The lead actor always made it to the end.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a whatever now with it.
Whatever now. I wish they'd. I do still hope they bring it back one day. And I would be fine. I would be fine if Jim is a writer in Austin. Yeah. It would be fun to see who Dwight, because I know Dwight would still be there.
Yeah.
Angela would be there. Oscar would. I don't know if he would be there. He'd be a politician, but I could see they could do so much with Dwight. Just Dwight and his new staff and how they are.
Like, looking at Rainn Wilson, like let's move on to Dwight and let's move on. Like, to me, Dwight was.
Hey, I like how he says it. Everybody hear that? Say his name.
Dwight.
There you go.
Dwight, what's wrong with Dwight?
So, Dave here says his name the way Jim says it in the TV series. The rest of the people don't say it that way. You say Dwight.
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 Jim says Dwight.
Jim says Dwight, but it's Dwight, isn't that has D-W-I-G-H-T, right? Dwight.
Oh.
But you say Dwight.
Dwight.
Anyway, it's just it's funny. That's what they mentioned in the podcast with Jenna Fisher.
That Jim
Angela.
would say Dwight.
That's how he said it. That's how he pronounced Dwight. Was Dwight.
Yeah, I could see that.
Dwight. But everybody else said Dwight.
Dwight. See, like, to me, it's Dwight.
Yeah, interesting.
It's not Dwight. It's Dwight.
Dwight. Huh. It's just kind of fun to listen to people.
You're welcome, Jim. You're welcome.
Shout out to Jim.
Jim.
James Krasinski.
He did. He was me for Halloween.
Oh yeah.
because he was Dave one time. I was
Dave,
like, cool.
that's right.
I remember one time I did that for Halloween, and I just put Jim.
Jim.
It's like Jim.
I love that. I love that. Isn't it? Does Andy come in and say, "Who are you?" And I'm Dave.
I loved his costumes. 3-punch hole
Jim. Yep. 3-punch hole Jim.
And then the Facebook where he just put like a face, like he just put book on his face. I loved his costume.
Didn't want to try it all.
No.
But Dwight, back to Dwight. I love that the opening scene of dun 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 dun.
And see, that's the interesting part about that one is that's Angela's favorite song.
That's her favorite song.
So it's like he was dating her before.
Yep. Yeah.
Dating her before.
Yeah.
Or at least seeing her on the side.
Right. Yeah, you just knew Dwight was gonna be that annoying person at work.
Yeah.
Right when you saw that, like, oh, it's Jim's nemesis, his destiny.
Yeah.
Although later we find out that they were, they do really good work together. Same thing.
I think so too.
Michael is annoying, but Michael is an amazing salesman.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
And then Dwight and Jim go on the sales call, and they perform amazing together. They get the guy's business.
Yeah.
And it even reminds me of when they go and sell paper. Jim and Dwight go on that other sales call, and Cordray was there.
Yeah, Danny Cordray.
Danny Cordray.
Yeah.
And they're like, we gotta call him the big guns, and Dwight takes that the wrong way. The big guns? Who? No, we gotta call him Michael. Gee whiz. But Dwight is just so. Oh, I do love Dwight and his commitment and his passion for his job.
Yeah.
And I sometimes feel for Dwight because I would go crazy if I was trying to just do my best and this jerk is putting my stuff in Jell-O.
Yeah.
And I can kind of see how it's an interesting relationship, Jim and Dwight.
And I think like Dwight, at first you find him annoying because that's what they want you to see.
Right.
They want you. They want you to root against him.
Yeah.
And he definitely is. Like, he's selfish. He's a jerk to Jim. He's a jerk to Pam. He's a jerk to everybody. Right.
Yep.
And so they sell that really, really good. But then, as seasons go on, you actually start rooting for Dwight more than Jim and Pam because I feel, because I watched this I listened to this video and they talked about Jim and Pam, where Jim and Pam were the level-headed people. And I didn't understand that until Jim and Pam went on their honeymoon and Oscar had to be like, wait, am I the only person with sane mind over here?
I'm the only sane person
and
here.
Then they try to call Jim and Pam, and they're like, we're on our honeymoon, we're on our honeymoon, we're on our honeymoon, don't call us again. And so, like, then you have Mike, Andy, and Dwight going crazy and all that stuff. So you need a Jim and a Pam to even things out, because every time Mike comes with an idea, Pam, after the first season, she is more the voice of reason.
Yes,
and then Dwight too. Jim, like, when one of the things that Dwight wanted Jim to do was get a stool sample or get a sample from Philip, Angela's baby. And he goes, I'm not doing that. Well, I'm going to give it to my regional. I'm going to give it to the assistant. And he does really good. And so he gives it to Dwight to go do. So Dwight is this crazy guy. But Jim and Pam, like, after the first season, the first 3 seasons, they did their own little craziness, right? Jim and Pam did their little craziness. But they were really mellow the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Like, when they had to get rid of Will Ferrell, how they got rid of Will Ferrell, like, Jim's like, ooh, we have a hoop down there, let's go do it. And then he goes and ducks it, and then, like, he dies. And you're just like, oh, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's the straight man, and Pam's the straight woman, too, when John isn't in the TV series isn't in the show as much, and so I liked them up until 3, and then they allowed everybody else to have the freedom
Yeah.
of being crazy. Like Oscar was crazy.
Yeah.
Creed was for sure crazy.
I love
Meredith was for sure. Angela was. They allowed Angela to be weird.
Yeah.
And then Phyllis, at the same time, there were times where she was that weird, that crazy woman.
Yeah.
Or, like, she was allowed to do some stuff.
Yeah.
And then Kevin, too. Like,
Stanley, I love Florida.
Stanley.
I love Florida Stanley.
that dude was nuts.
Yeah. Hey, ladies. You're like, Jim was like, oh, no. Get me out of here.
I always thought I wanted to be Stanley. I don't think I could keep up with him.
Yeah, that's right. Oh. Florida Stanley.
Oh. And then in that, that first episode where they talk about regional, the manager, regional manager, assistant to the
regional manager, assistant regional manager.
It's about the same. No, it's not.
It's not.
It's lower.
It's lower. Yep.
So funny.
That interaction, I actually watched that, and that interaction, I was like, I wonder if we'll talk about it. Oh, But Dwight in there talking to Michael, and he starts to play with Michael's toys on his desk, and Michael grabs it and throws it down, and
strike. Then I take back. Then I give you something. Choose the healthcare plan.
Yep.
Okay. Yes. Do I get an office? You can use the conference rooms as a workspace. Oh, an office bigger than yours.
Yeah.
Nope. I revoked that. Workspace.
Workspace.
And then the whole dialogue between Jim and Dwight, where it's like workspace, my office, workspace. Just like that back and forth. You're like, oh man, this is so awesome.
Yep.
Okay, and then I gotta ask. One of the last things that we talked about, or one of the questions with this after talking about Jim, Pam, and Mike, and Dwight, is how did this show survive season 2? Because these first 6 episodes, like we talked about, they were more British than they were American. And how did that survive? Like, because I remember when I watched it the first time, I saw The Alliance. I just saw The Alliance, and I thought The Alliance was so funny.
So good. That
it just hooked me. And then I remember talking to a friend, because I was watching it, and I asked her, I was like, hey, told her about it, and she goes, oh, that's The Office. It's going to come on Thursdays in this fall. And I was like, okay. So then I was hooked the whole time, from 2 to 9.
Yeah.
So it's just like, how did that first season? Because The Alliance was good. Basketball was pretty good. The Hot Girl was pretty good with Amy Adams.
Yeah.
But those first 3, they're a bit rough. Just a bit rough.
Yeah, and so they were all shot in different. So episode 1 was not episode 1. That was like the third episode they shot.
Yeah.
But okay, so the opening, the pilot episode, cringeworthy. It sets up the cast really well. I mean, okay, I'm gonna revert. It doesn't really set up Michael really well.
Yeah.
Pam's very timid in it. Jim is
very timid.
I don't know. Jim's Jim, but Jim really.
He wasn't defined at that time.
Yeah, Jim shines later on. I feel like the actors come into their places pretty well throughout the rest of season 1.
And I think Dwight, and it's set up for Michael. Don't get me wrong,
right.
But like Dwight's unforgettable.
Oh yeah.
Like it's hard not to notice Dwight.
Yep.
Because you kind of root against him.
Right.
Big time.
Yeah. I think I don't know how it came back, and I don't think when I've listened to the podcast with Jenna Fisher, they were surprised it was going to come back, because even Jenna, after the last taping, she went and like looked for another job. She was just like, there's no way.
See,
we're getting another season.
The only thing I've heard about it is that somebody loved it so much. Some executive loved it so much that they did it.
Yep.
But then that first episode of season 2 with the Dundies, no wonder it stayed.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the first, it's kind of a throwaway, whatever, with 4, 5, and 6, they got a little bit better. They did all that. But season 2, episode 1, hooked you.
Yeah.
And it made you become more of a fan of The Office.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. So, like, I can understand after season 2. But after season 1, it was tough. Like, watching it, it's like, it doesn't make sense why people would like this.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. Thank you for joining us with Shooting the Breeze.
Shooting the Breeze.
We are on all podcasting formats. We are also on YouTube. Mike does a great job with our YouTube channel. He is an amazing guy. So if you ever need any video stuff, Memories Made Modern by Mike. Check him on Instagram, Facebook,
MemoriesMadeModern.com.
MemoriesMadeModern.com. So give him a call, give him a text, whatever. Help him out. So thank you. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later.
See ya.